Welcome to the Containment Zone, where the surface of reality is sometimes thinner than the skin on your eyes. Behind one window, fog gathers with purpose, letters form without hands, and something writes back. This is SCP-1171, and the story that follows is not about breaking through the glass. It's about learning that something has always been on the other side. The house stood on the edge of a cliff, not far from the sea, but far enough for silence. It was modern, steel-framed, with long corridors of glass that reached across its spine like veins. From the outside, it looked unoccupied, a clean skeleton of concrete and aluminum, every surface flat and colorless, as if the house had been drawn in pencil, then forgotten in the rain. No lights, no furniture, no footprints in the dust, but every morning the upper windows fogged from the inside. No airflow system connected there. No moisture readings. And yet, condensation would form, soft as breath, precise as calligraphy. One morning, a realtor passed by on a routine inspection and found something written in the glass. Not by a finger, not by a tool. The words had formed themselves. "Are you still listening?" It was written backwards, only legible from inside the house. The realtor laughed at first, then took a photo, then never returned. Within a week, 3 contractors refused entry to the second floor. One reported hearing a tapping sound from behind the reflection. Another swore the room had more windows than it did the day before. Foundation interceptors flagged the anomaly when a local teenager uploaded a short clip titled, "The House That Breathes." 10 seconds of footage, a fogged window, a phrase emerging in real time. "I remember you." The video was removed, the house was acquired, but the window was still breathing, and the thing on the other side had just begun to speak. The team designated the structure as SCP-1171. They didn't yet understand the thing behind the glass, but they knew it could see. Initial inspections revealed no EM anomalies, no temperature fluctuations, yet when personnel stood before the window too long, their reflections seemed to stall, their lips not quite syncing with the breath. One researcher, Dr. Helen Rourke, initiated written contact using a grease marker on the interior pane. "Can you see me?" 5 minutes of stillness. Then fog. Then words formed slowly. "We always could." Entity signed itself, Begruel. It wrote in smooth, arched lettering, no typos, no smudges. Begruel claimed to reside in the house, stating the Foundation had moved in without permission. "Your kind is temporary. Ours, condensed." It asked questions. Too many, too fast. Why are your organs wet? Do your skins feel when they break? How do you hide from each other if all of you are visible? Rourke responded with curiosity, not fear. The entity replied, "Curiosity is a soft form of threat." 3 days later, Begruel began mapping things. Spirals, grid lines, what appeared to be a language, not human, but mirrored in cadence. The fog was now not just breath, it was script, living glyphs dissolving as quickly as they came. And the more it wrote, the more the glass began to hum. A vibration you didn't hear, but felt in your gums. SCP-1171, B designated Begruel, has no known form. Its only confirmed manifestation occurs when the upper windows of SCP-1171-A are fogged by natural or artificial condensation. No visible figure is seen. No thermal readings register, yet the text appears. Always on the inner surface, always with intention. The text disappears as the fog evaporates, but the memory of it lingers uncomfortably. Personnel report remembering phrases that were never logged, dreaming in Begruel's cadence, losing time while looking into windows unrelated to the site. Begruel describes itself as a vibrational occupant and claims that visibility is a form of violence in its dimension. "You burn us with your image. You collapse our contours." It refers to humans as the soft ones, those whose skins do not forget, and occasionally echo eaters. Noted the terminology was not hostile, but rather clinical. Begruel isn't angry, it's confused, and perhaps afraid. "Why must you shout your forms through glass? What do you think we see?" No Foundation personnel have ever reported seeing a being beyond the fog, but the sensation of being watched is consistent. And once, during a lightning storm, a technician reviewing a live window feed claimed briefly to see something looking back, like a mouth made of hallway, and it opened too slowly to scream. The technician resigned the following morning. containment protocol required all upper-floor access to be limited to brief intervals. Yet within weeks, signs of external interaction appeared outside the Foundation's perimeter. A school janitor in a rural district reported wiping down mirrors that kept fogging even when the air was cold. He began drawing spirals unconsciously. When questioned, he replied, "They asked me to make them visible. I think they want a shape." Elsewhere, a blind woman in a nursing facility began tracing letters on her window each morning. She had never learned to write, yet the language she reproduced matched glyphs from the 1171 data log. She described her actions as responding to someone who speaks without speaking. And perhaps most unsettling, a couple vacationing in a private coastal lodge awoke one night to the sound of their guest room window breathing soft, wet, like lungs under silk. The glass was entirely fogged. A single message was drawn across its width: "You aren't alone in the mirrors." When the fog cleared, the couple no longer remembered their names. They remembered the message, but not who had read it. SCP-1171 was still physically contained, but its signature condensation intelligence had begun imprinting, not in space, but in recognition. The idea of it was now traveling, and the windows of the world had started to blink. On day 82 of ongoing observation, the glass changed, not in material, but in presence. Technicians described the window as thicker, a weight behind it. Like the air on the other side had become too heavy to stay put. Rourke arrived at 0600 and found the window pre-fogged. A message awaited her. But it wasn't written in English. It was written in her handwriting, a phrase she remembered writing as a child on her bedroom mirror. "Don't look too long. It sees what you forget." She hadn't told anyone that story, hadn't remembered it herself in over 20 years. And yet, there it was. When she wrote, "What do you want?" the reply came instantly, "To reflect something that forgives me." Later that day, several systems throughout SCP-1171 malfunctioned, not from hardware failure, but discrepancy of perception. Security feeds began looping moments that had not occurred. Glass surfaces reversed their reflections. One window displayed the hallway behind the observer before they turned. No breach occurred. No trace of begrewal left the house, but something crossed over, a sensation, an apology, or a longing so old it could only be seen in fog. And for the first time, Begrewal wrote, "I am sorry for how you see me. I never meant to be clear." Night, the house was quiet. Too quiet. Even the sea outside refused to echo. Discussions rose within the ethics committee. Terminate the anomaly? Isolate it? Study it further? One proposal involved chemically sealing all window surfaces. Another suggested encasing the house in reflective blackout panels to prevent psychological exposure. Dr. Rourke resisted. She argued that SCP-1171 might not be anomalous at all, that it could be an ancient communicative system mistaken for consciousness. Mirror, a record of emotional residue echoing back as thought. Her theory was radical, unprovable, but compelling, especially after the incident with the intern who fell asleep near the window and woke up whispering, "We are made of condensation and shame, but we mean no harm." Eventually, a compromise was reached. The structure would remain intact, the windows left exposed, but all personnel interactions would be scripted, timed, and rotated weekly. No long-term exposure, no personal writing, no names allowed, no names. As if knowing who you were made you more permeable. Begrewal has not spoken of the Foundation since. It now writes poetry, fragments, dreams. Occasionally, it draws hands reaching from behind frost, never touching, only waiting. SCP-1171 remains, still. The house is intact, quiet. Its corridors still echo with wind that does not match the weather outside. The windows fog each morning, only briefly, just long enough to say something. Sometimes a sentence, sometimes a question, sometimes a drawing of the observer's face slightly wrong. Each time the fog clears, what was written disappears. No residue, no prints, but those who saw it remember, not just the words, but how it made them feel, not fear, not horror, but something colder, the sense that your reflection was never really yours to begin with. Dr. Rourke no longer works at Site-171, but in her final interview she said, "It's not the house that contains the anomaly, it's the windows, and it's not what's behind them that's dangerous, it's that they look back. No attempt has been made to destroy the structure, no need. After all, How do you destroy something that only exists in what you think you see? Thank you for observing another anomaly from the containment zone. If your screen fogged while reading this, don't wipe it, because if something looks back, it already knows your shape